You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Yesterday afternoon, Prime Minister Hun Manet welcomed Fumiaki Takahashi, president of the Japan-Cambodia Association, or JCA, at the Peace Palace. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
Mr. Takahashi thanked the Prime Minister for taking time to allow him and his delegation to pay courtesy call and attend the fireworks display on Sunday to celebrate 70 years of Cambodia-Japan diplomatic relations. He said that the JCA has been encouraging Japanese small and medium-sized investors to consider Cambodia in a number of areas, including demining, transportation, technical and vocational training, vehicle repair and nursing. In addition, the association plans to open up an office in Cambodia to facilitate Japanese and Cambodian businesses cooperation in the near future. Prime Minister Hun Manet thanked Mr. Takahashi and his delegations for their visit and thanked the JCA for co-organising the fireworks display. He also thanked the Japanese government and its people for continuing to support Cambodia's social-economic development during its speech for peace and promoting investment. The Prime Minister welcomed even more investment from Japan to Cambodia and informed the delegation of the benefits that come with the new investment laws and policies to incentivize investors and businesses, creating a favourable investment climate in Cambodia. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Yesterday marked 3 months since Prime Minister Hun Manet became Cambodia's first new prime minister in over 30 years, following his father's decades-long tenure. While inaugurating a new stretch of road that morning, the prime minister highlighted his achievements over the last 90 days and also responded to some criticism. The Prime Minister inaugurated nearly 300 kilometers of National Road 5 that were renovated with loans from Japan. The Prime Minister took time at the ceremony to address those who say his success only comes from borrowing money from abroad. He stressed that during his short time in office, he has brought more foreign investment to Cambodia and has encouraged good relations with many countries.
នៅក្នុងគម្រោងកម្ចីបៀនមួយផ្នែកប៉ុន្តែក្រៅពីនោះយើងបានតាក់ទាញការវិនិយោគបរទេសទាំងលើកស្ទួយនៅក្នុងការវិនិយោគក្នុងស្រុកដើម្បីប្រើប្រាស់នៅក្នុងធនធានវិស័យឯកជន
He also said that the royal government relies on private resources for the buy, operate, transfer budget for new infrastructure. He claimed that attracting foreign investors to Cambodia will create economic vitality for the country. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Hun Manet announced plans to make Kampong Chhnang Province a special economic zone, or SEZ, as he inaugurated a stretch of National Road 5 that passes through the province this morning. An SEZ is an area of development in which the business and trade laws are different from the rest of the country. They aim to increase trade balance, employment, investment, job creation, and effective administration. They can be established by the state, a private enterprise, or a public-private joint venture. Cambodia has over 50 SEZs, according to BNG Legal, with the largest being established in Sihanoukville in 2008. According to the Prime Minister, the royal government will build other infrastructure, such as waterways and railways, in addition to expanding roads leading to Kampong Cham and the road from Kampot to Sihanoukville. He instructed the Ministry of Public Works and Transport to work with all relevant authorities at all levels to maintain and prepare infrastructure once it is built. He also recommended strengthening road safety, facilitating traffic flow, and providing more effective traffic signs to reduce the risk of accidents. He asked that the public do their part in taking care of infrastructure by respecting traffic laws. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Nearly 3,000 cruise ship guests and workers docked at Sihanoukville this week, bringing a much-needed boost to tourism in the coastal city. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
Today, the Oceania Regatta came from Vietnam carrying 628 people, including 392 crew members. Most of the guests on board were American, Canadian and British tourists. The guests visited the coastal attractions of Le Marquet Le Pagoda and Klom Pagoda. Provincial authorities provided hospitality and documentation and information on tourist attractions while coordinating order and safety areas. On Friday, the German-owned Adibella docked for more than 2,000 people on board. Many of the tourists visited local towns, markets and cultural sites, including the Tumnutlaluk fishing area, pagodas and coastal beaches. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The Phnom Penh Municipal Police will deploy about 5,000 officers to maintain security and order during the Water Festival this weekend. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the details.
Yesterday, Phnom Penh Police Commissioner Chun Naring disseminated his department's security plan for a much-anticipated event that has not been held for the last 3 years due to COVID-19 restrictions. He laid out some important plans to ensure public safety and security for those who come to enjoy the Water Festival. Festivities will include dragon boat racing along the river and floating lantern celebrations. He instructed commanders to divide the Defence Force responsibly to carefully examine the use of force and to elevate each team's geographic situation so that they can respond in real time to the needs of the large crowds expected. He also recommended the regular use of patrols at the celebration sites and for the 14 district police units to prepare for any necessary interventions. The Police Commissioner asked that the task force to prevent theft so that people can relax and have fun, saying that the officers should take turns at the headquarters to receive complaints and issue settlements for various problems brought to the precinct. The authorities also studied the parking situation and problems of traffic congestion that may arise. He noted that many roads will be closed and that officers should forbid through traffic to anyone who does not live directly in the vicinity. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Hun Manet has met with factory workers 10 times since taking office 3 months ago. So far, he says he has met with nearly 200,000 workers in total. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The Prime Minister met with over 18,000 factory workers in Phnom Penh's Kambal district today. He said he will continue to hold 2 more rounds of meetings during his first term and proudly noted that when he meets with the workers, he always receives a kiss on the cheek and love from the workers. Meeting with factory workers is a tradition established by his father, former Prime Minister Hun Sen, who frequently met with workers to give long speeches in disseminating public policy and addressing current events. Today, the Prime Minister took time to promote the government's new program of providing vocational training to 1.5 million improvised young people to provide them with skills that will find them decent jobs. He encouraged Cambodia's youth to study hard and to apply their skills beyond just learning theory. The Prime Minister then instructed the Ministry of Labour and Vocational Training to closely monitor the program and ensure that it provides applicable training. He also stressed that it is necessary to invest in equipment and cooperate with private companies to create a successful program for the youth. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. While meeting with Prime Minister Hun Manet, President of the Universal Peace Federation, Charles Yang, praised former Prime Minister Hun Sen for ending the war and bringing peace to Cambodia. The UPF president went on to say that other countries facing conflict and division can learn from the former prime minister. Having already met with the National Assembly president to build cooperation, UPF President Charles Yang went on to meet with Prime Minister Hun Manet at the Peace Palace yesterday, followed by a visit to Phnom Penh's Victory Monument. During his visit, he expressed admiration for the prime minister's father, former Prime Minister Hun Sen, and trusted that the Prime Minister would continue his legacy. The UPF is a South Korean NGO headquartered in the U.S. that promotes world peace through Christian-based morality under its founder's motto, One Family Under God. The group has had many politicians speak at their events, often conservative, including former U.S. President Donald Trump and former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe before he was assassinated. The UPF was among the official observers of Cambodia's national election in July, which was contested by the U.S., the European Union, and other countries as being, quote, neither free nor fair, citing actions taken against the ruling party's political dissidents in the lead-up to the election. The UPF, however, was an official observer on Election Day, and Charles Yang congratulated Cambodia on a free, fair, and just election. The Prime Minister invited Mr. Yang and his delegation to return for another visit to Cambodia to further strengthen and expand the cooperation between Cambodia and the UPF. He thanked them for sending 115 delegates from 30 countries to observe the 7th National Assembly election on July 23, 2023, and for the congratulatory letter that followed. The Prime Minister also praised the UPF's role in finding peaceful solutions in disputes between states and emphasized his government's contribution to the UPF's Global Peace Charter. He said that Cambodia and the UPF have common goals in building peace, unity, and development within society. He also thanked the UPF for donating medical equipment to the Techo Young Volunteer Doctors Association in the fight against COVID-19, and he expressed hope that the UPF will continue to provide assistance and activities that promote the well-being of the Cambodian people. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The Ministry of Social Affairs completed the Towards Inclusive Employment for Persons with Disabilities project this week to highlight the needs of disabled workers in achieving an equitable job market. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
Representing the Minister of Social Affairs, Chia Somati, Secretary of State M. Chan Makara spoke at the event's closing ceremony today to stress the importance of joint action to ensure employment for Cambodia's disabled community. He said that while employment data for persons with disabilities is difficult to gauge, it is estimated that Cambodia's disabled people have a higher rate of employment than those without disabilities. The Secretary of State, who is also the Secretary General of the Disability Action Council, said that the Cambodian government has been prioritising employment for the disabled by giving them work in ministries and in public institutions. He said that there are many private institutions that have come to recognise disability as a source of diversity, talent and innovation. He said that decent jobs for persons with disabilities should empower them to lead independent lives and to contribute to the well-being of families, communities and social as a whole towards building a more cohesive economy. He noted that the project's mission is in line with the Government 2023 agenda and its Sustainable Development Goals. He stresses that as the economy grows, employment issues for persons with disabilities will remain a challenge that needs to be solved through a group effort and that problems should be addressed before they occur to ensure that no one is left behind. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The government announced the official implementation of the 5th and 6th Priority Policy Program under Prime Minister Hun Manet's new administration today. The Prime Minister made a speech wherein he ensured that government involvement in the free market would not affect the spirit of competition. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
Cambodia implemented reform policies in 1989 to enter an open market economy with private property rights and state-owned enterprises being privatised. Today, the Prime Minister stressed that within the open market, the government acts as a consultant and provider of various supports such as infrastructure, finance and technology.
ជាស្ដែងរាជរដ្ឋាភិបាលបានព្យាយាមយ៉ាងសកម្មក្នុងការចរចាជាមួយបណ្ដាប្រទេសជាមិត្តដើម្បីនាំចេញផលិតផលកសិកម្មរបស់កម្ពុជាដោយមានកិច្ចព្រមព្រៀងពាណិជ្ជកម្មសេរីទាំងក្នុងក្របខ័ណ្ឌទ្វេភាគីពហុភាគី
The Prime Minister said that the Ministry of Agriculture and the Minister of Commerce have played an important role in promoting Cambodian products and agricultural products to foreign markets and finding new ways to attract foreign agriculture investors. He stressed that the government's intervention measures that facilitate credit do not affect the spirit of competition in the free market. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. King Norodom Sihamoni returned safely from his trip to France last night, having strengthened diplomatic ties between Cambodia and its former colonizer in the fields of cultural preservation and healthcare investment. Multiple dignitaries, including the current and former prime ministers, greeted the king upon his arrival to the Phnom Penh International Airport. The monarch spent a week in France, meeting French President Emmanuel Macron, visiting his father's archive, and attending the 4th Intergovernmental Conference for the Safeguarding and Development of Angkor. Having departed for France on November 12th, the king met with French President Emmanuel Macron the next day. During their meeting, the French president pledged continued assistance in Cambodia's healthcare sector, especially in improving its access to technology. He also promised to continue promoting and preserving Cambodian culture by providing experts and restoration help. The French government supported Cambodia's candidacy to host the 2026 Francophonie Summit, which will attract more international attention to the kingdom's progress. During his trip, King Norodom Sihamoni also paid a visit to review the archives from his father's era. The late King Norodom Sihanouk maintained close relations with France after declaring Cambodia's independence from the European country in the 1950s. The king wrapped up his visit in France by visiting the Château de Fontainebleau, a castle located